Hello soulmates, welcome to my YouTube channel. If it's your first time viewing my channel, you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you very much. Please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please stick to the end of the video to see how the pattern looks like. So we're going to be drafting a basque Victorian corset. So I'm going to marking out my vertical measurement, which is my shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust and shoulder to navel. Then we mark out our chest line, which is your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5. So we are going to come down by 4 for a slim person or 5 because we are drafting an off-shoulder basque corset. So I'm going to place my tape on that 5. The next thing you're going to do is to mark your bust pan divided by 2, which is your nipple divided by 2. So I'm going to mark it on my bust line, then go down, mark it at my under bust, then go down, mark it at my waistline or navel, and then also go down and mark it at my top length there. So I'm going to join the lines together and also go back and mark at the top parts before joining them together. After connecting them, the next thing I'm going to do is to find my shoulder. My shoulder divided by 2, I'm not going to be adding ½ inch because we're not adding any sleeve to this. After that, I'm going to draw the line down. So the next thing I'm going to do is to extend the line to the chest line. After doing that, I'm going to mark my darts. So at my top length, I'm going to be marking half on both sides. Then at my navel or waistline, I'm going to be marking 1 on both sides. Then I'll go up to my under bust and mark 1 at both sides. Then I'll go back to the upper parts and mark 1 inch on both sides. I will come down to my bust point and go up by half just to avoid a sharp edge. After doing that, I'm just going to connect back my darts from my under bust to my waistline to my top length and then extend it upwards. So I'm going to connect all my dart lines. I'm going to join them. Then connect from up to down. So depending on the neckline you want, you can just mark. So I'm just going to mark my neckline. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark out my bust circumference, my under bust circumference, my waistline and my top length circumference. So here I'm going to be marking out my bust circumference divided by 4. So I'm going to also add that intake that we took out. That's 1 on both sides, making it 2. Then I'm going to be adding 1.5 for extra dart intake, because for a Victorian corset you can have as many darts as you like. Then I'm going to be adding in my allowance. So I'm going to be marking the bust circumference divided by 4. Plus the dart intake, that's 2. Now extend my lines out. After marking the 2, I'm going to mark the 1.5 inch for the extra dart intake. After marking that, I'm going to add the allowance for the dress. So I'll just extend my line from the bust, under bust, navel and top length. At my under bust, I'm going to mark my under bust circumference divided by 4. Then add my dart intake. Then mark the 1.5 for extra darts. Then add my allowance. So I'm just going to connect it back. At my waistline, I am going to do the same thing. I'm going to divide my waistline by 4. Add my dart in 1.5 for extra darts and then the allowance for the dress. Then I'll extend the line down. So I'm going to be drawing the armhole for the tube top. Please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel to get more amazing videos from my channel, and don't forget to turn up the notification buttons to get new updates from my channel, and also drop your comments at the comment section below. Connect your line back to the chest line. Then I'm going to blend in the line from my dart line back to my armhole or chest line area. After connecting that, so the next thing I'm going to do is whatever I have at my under bust, I'm going to be dividing it by 2, because like I said earlier, for a Victorian corset you can have as many darts as you like. So whatever I have at my under bust, I'm going to be dividing it by 2. So I'm just going to mark there and then extend the line. After I'm done extending the line, so remember we added 1.5 for extra dart. So at my under bust, I'm going to mark half here, and then go down to my waistline, mark half here and half here. So I'm going to go up and draw out a dart. Then I'll connect all my dart lines together. After connecting the dart lines, so like you have seen, we've taken half on both sides, making it 1. So I'm also going to take out another dart. At my waistline, I'm going to be marking 1/2 inch. So after taking out the half, I'm going to extend the line to my bust line. So I'm going to connect it to my top length. Next thing I'll do is to mark out my dart areas. So I'm going to be marking all my darts to indicate the dart areas. I'm going to mark the dart at the center front, at the middle and at the back parts of the pattern. Because I want a basque effect on my top, so I'm going to go up by 2 and then connect it down. So I'm going to draw and connect it. After connecting the line, I'm just going to keep this and draft out the back pattern. So for the back pattern, the first thing I'm going to do is to mark out my vertical measurements. Shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to navel or waistline. The next thing I'll do is to mark out my zipper allowance. So I'm using 2 for my zipper allowance. I'm going to mark it at my chest line, bust line, under bust, and my navel or waistline. And then I'll go back and connect the lines together. So like the back part is always flat, so I'm going to be getting rid of puff. So at my waistline, I'm going to mark half, then extend the line to my top length. So I'll extend it back to my bust line. We've gotten rid of the puff. Then this is my zipper allowance. So I'm going to mark my shoulder divided by 2, then extend the line down to my chest line. So for my back, I'm going to be making use of 1.5 dart intake. So at my bust, I'm going to mark my bust circumference plus the 1.5 dart intake. Then I will now mark my allowance. So at my under bust, I'll mark my bust circumference, under bust circumference, sorry. Then 1.5 inch for that, and then the allowance. At the waistline, I'm going to mark the waistline circumference plus 1.5 for the dart intake and 2 inches allowance. Then I will be joining the lines together. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark my bust span from the zipper allowance, which is your nipple to nipple divided by 2. So I'm going to mark it at the bust, at the under bust, at the waistline or navel. At my waistline, I'm going to be marking half on both sides. After marking the half, I'm going to draw my dart, but first I'm going to join the lines together. After joining the lines, I'm going to mark my darts. I'm going to connect all my darts lines together from beginning to the ending or bottom part. So remember, we are taking 1.5 dart intake at the back. So I've marked half, that's 1 inch, remaining half inch dart intake for the back. So I want the back to be lower, so I'm just going to connect that line. So I'm going to go lower at the zipper part because I want a lower effect over there. Then I'm going to connect it back to the original line. So I'm going to mark the remaining half dart intake at the zipper allowance. So I'll mark half at my waistline, then extend the line to my chest line. then extend it back to my top length. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark out my dart areas to indicate my darts. After marking out my dart areas, the next thing I will do is to cut out the pattern. So remember, all the measurements and cutting we did was on fold. So soulmates, at this point, if you enjoyed watching my video, please like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to turn up the notification button to get new updates from my channel. Please subscribe is really helpful for me, and it's also beneficial for you because you get to see new videos from my channel. And also don't forget to drop your comments at the comment section. Please stick to the end of the video to see how the pattern looks like. So I forgot to mark out the basque effect earlier on, so I'm just going to go up by 2 and then connect. Then after marking out, I'm just going to cut out. This is the back pattern. And this is the front pattern. So with this, all my patterns are ready. Please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel to get new updates from my channel.